In this video, we're going to look at a few simple ways to use query strings and query string sessions to display content in LogicHop. First, I'm going to jump into my conditions, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add New, and give this a title. And for this, we're going to use if query string UTM campaign, and that's my variable, and if the value is social. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Now let's jump over to our site, and you'll see I just have a super simple page. I'm going to go ahead and click Edit. And here it says this is our home page. And I simply come to the LogicHop palette and say LogicHop if UTM campaign is social, and insert conditional logic. That gives us our logic tags here, and this is really just asking the question, if the UTM campaign is social, then it's going to display the content that's in this section here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just write social real simply, just so we can see it on the page. When I click Update, and now I'm going to open this page in a new tab. And here when I view the page, you'll see it says this is our home page. Now if I add the query string we specified, which is UTM campaign equals social, and you'll see it says this is our home page, and it's displaying the H2 social that we displayed. Now here's something interesting about this. If I go to the About page, and then I come back to the home page, you'll see it doesn't say social anymore. So it's not remembering that query string. So this is useful if you just want to show a quick message to somebody, but let me show you another option that we can do. So I'm going to come to my conditions here, and I'm just going to go ahead and take this UTM campaign as social, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to change this UTM campaign session is social. And the difference here with this is query string and query string session. So this is if the query string session UTM campaign is social. And now the way this works is LogicHop is intelligent about query strings in that it stores all of the query strings for the user's session. Now I'm going to jump back to edit my home page. And one thing, I do have to reload this page in order for the condition to show up. And you'll see we have if condition UTM campaign is social. We're displaying social here. I'm just going to copy this and go ahead and if UTM campaign session is social, I'm going to add that in as well. So what I'm going to do is just replace this if content here. And for this, I'm going to say social session. I'm going to go ahead and click Update. And now I'm going to view this page in a new incognito window. And this is going to give us a new session. And this will treat it as it's a new user coming to the site. And let me go ahead and enter that query string. UTM campaign equals social. Now, what I want to point out here is that this triggers both conditions. The first condition is because the query string is set. And the second condition is because the query string session is set. So both of those are set at this point because the query string is in the URL. Now, when I go to our About page, you'll see that the query string is no longer in the URL. And I go back to the home page. The query string is no longer in the URL, but this is retained because of the LogicHop session storage of the query string variable. So you'll see it says social session. So let me show you another little trick that we can do to personalize. So after this social session, put a dash, and then I'm going to use LogicHop tool palette and go to data, and I'm going to pick a variable. So here I'm going to grab the query store variable, and this is that variable that's stored in the session. For this, I'm just going to change the variable name to first name. And this gives me some options. I can give it a default value. So I'm just going to say partner. And the text case, I'm going to capitalize the first letter. I'm going to go ahead and insert this, and you'll see this gives us another logic tag. Now what this one is a data logic tag, so this is going to display this first name query string when it's stored. So in front of that, I'm just going to write howdy. I'm going to go ahead and click Update. So we'll see if we come back to our incognito window and I reload the page, it says howdy partner because we set partner to be our default value. Now, if I add the query string first name, it's going to say howdy Michael. Now when I come to the About page, again, no query strings exist, and I go back to the home page, it's going to remember that name because it's in the session. So this is a really powerful way that you can use query strings, whether they're in the URL or query string sessions, if they're stored in the Logic Hop session, to be able to personalize content and display different elements on the page. Now, we just touched on this a little bit. In our page, we're using the logic tags to display content. You can also insert any other type of content in there that you'd like. It could be a form, it could be a video, it could be an image, it could be a combination of things. So you really have a range of ways that you can use query strings for personalization. And these type of techniques generate huge increases in conversions. If you have any questions, shoot us an email at info@logichop.com.